Before we get into this episode, we like to ask you guys to send in some questions for an upcoming Q&A podcast episode. You can either email us questions at 2.4.5.podcast@gmail.com, with 245 being spelled out, or DM us on our new Instagram page at the 245 podcast. Now, on to the episode.
Hey guys, welcome to the 245 podcast. And speaking of 245, did you guys know that there have been 245 new species of frogs discovered in 2022?
No way. Is that legit?
Can you name every single one?
Negative.
Oh.
Just look it up. You'll find them somewhere, I'm sure.
All right, will do.
Well, welcome back to another episode. Today we're going to be talking about our junior year of high school.
Oh,
it was a doozy. Hype year.
It was a doozy.
Well,
some parts were hype, some parts were not so hype.
Sneak peek 2020 was a part of this year.
Yeah, if that tells you anything. But before we get to talking about high school, how have you guys been? We haven't talked in a week and a half-ish. So what's up at UNW?
We've been good. It's been pretty chill. It's starting to get a little cold here. I don't know what it's like down in Iowa, but
you did say it's been pretty chill.
Yeah, it has been very chill. One day it was like a few days ago, it was like 80 or like not 80. It was like 70 degrees. And then the next day it was like 50. And it's been like that ever since. So yeah, we're going with that right now. I haven't gotten my long sleeves from home yet, so I need to do that soon, or else I'm gonna have to be just living off of sweatshirts, and I don't have enough of those. So yeah, it's been good.
Yeah.
It's been pretty light for me homework-wise, but it's been fun.
Joey, do you relate to it being pretty light homework-wise?
No, not at all. So my current situation is I got a 13-page paper on 7 verses in 1 Timothy 3, 1 through 7. I've done a lot of the research for it, so I should be able to write it pretty quick. We're filming this on a Friday night, and it's due on a Tuesday, and I have yet to write a page. So that'll be a good time. So I'm kind of feeling it a little bit, but I think we'll be all right. We got time. I got time.
Yeah,
he's got
time. Fortunately for me, I don't relate with Joey, but I've been really busy with soccer lately. Northwestern's on a 4-game win streak right now. We play Bethany tomorrow. So our win streak goes on the line against a tough opponent. So hopefully we can make it 5.
Mitch, have you been playing a lot?
Yeah, I average about around like 40, 50 minutes a game.
Nice.
I don't start, which is, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with my position right now, but yeah.
Also, every game they've won has been like not close. It's been like 4-1 or 4-0 or 3-0 or something like that.
Yeah, I think we've scored 3 or 4 goals in every single game.
Yeah.
That's pretty hype.
So,
Mitch, have you scored yet?
Nope.
Oh, he got close last night.
I've gotten some close chances. I've got an assist.
Nice.
Down there in Iowa, but
wait, who are you playing down here?
Buena Vista.
You guys were actually. I looked on Life 360. You guys were. I mean, Mitch was definitely closer to you than he was to us.
Yeah, we were deep in Iowa.
Nice. If you ever have any epic moments, you got to send me the game film, or even if you play. It'd be cool to see you.
Yeah, will do.
Yo.
Well, I think before we get going, I'd like to bring a conversation to the table. I'd like to have a little conversation about BeReal.
Yes.
I think this is a good topic to talk about. So I think, Mike, you should talk first about BeReal.
Okay. Well, a couple minutes ago, right before we started recording the podcast, BeReal went off, and I was like, "Oh, Joey, BeReal went off," because me and Joey have BeReal, and Josh was like, "You said you guys weren't going to get BeReal," and
because you did. You said, "I'm not going to get that. I will not get that app." This
is the same exact thing
Josh.
that Kylie said to me too. She was like, you were like trashing on BeReal, saying that you were never going to get it. And I was like, okay, maybe I'm a little bit of a hypocrite. Okay,
maybe.
But here was my trade-off. Instagram takes up so much time. I mean, we all know Instagram, it's a black hole. It'll suck you in. BeReal, you post once a day. You look at your friends' posts when you post. since everyone posts around the same time, and then maybe you check on it once later in the day. So you're spending maybe 2 minutes at a time, twice a day on it. So a total of like 5 minutes on BeReal. Instagram, you could spend over an hour. That's what I would sometimes do in a day, which is not good. So I logged out of my Instagram account, my main Instagram account, and I got BeReal. So that was my trade-off. I have surprisingly not been super tempted to like try to log back in all the time and go look at Instagram. So that's been good. I've looked at it every once in a while, but not as much as I used to for sure. So that's my reasoning.
So at least you thought about it. It wasn't just a mindless, hey, everyone's doing this.
No, I went a good month with everyone doing it before I got it. Yep.
Joey, how about you? I thought you were like anti-social media man.
Yeah, so I am. I'm still on that train for sure. But then Mike got it, but then I had been hearing about it from other people, and just like I've been in their BeReals and stuff, and I had people explain the concept to me, and I was like, actually, this is like totally different. I think it's very, very different than other. Like if you compare it to Instagram or Facebook, it is like so different. So I got it. I would say I only have like 15 friends or something on it. It's not very many. So yeah, I relate to Mike where I can literally go through my feed. I probably go through it twice, like for 1 minute a day. Like if there's only 15 posts, you can scroll through them super fast. So I'd say I've never spent more than like five minutes a day on it.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's why I'm using it. But Josh, I think you should get it because then we can see what you're doing every day.
Yeah, I'm actually friends with a couple of your Dort friends on BeReal. So
Ooh, epic.
Maybe you should get it too.
Mitch, I need the third devil's advocate perspective so I can make an informed decision. Mitch?
Well, I don't have it.
Yeah, I'm aware.
Oh, okay. I thought you thought I had it. But yeah, I've said to myself and I've said to other people that out of all social media apps, this would be the one that I would get, and that's the only one I would get. But I'm still on that train. Like, I don't think I need it. I see all these people every day, so I can.
But you're not totally like, oh, BeReal is awful. Like you're a little bit like, oh,
No.
This one's different. Like it could be okay.
Yeah, like it's set apart from all the other ones, which I really like.
Okay. Well, I'll consider it. Maybe you guys will be seeing BeReals from me soon.
Yes, please.
We'll see. Let's see. Any more housekeeping items before we jump into junior year?
Well, should we talk about some of the like feedback or like what we've heard from people about the podcast? Because as of the time we're recording this, we have 2 episodes out. Freshman year episode just came out today. So we've had 1 intro episode and 1 like official episode out. So like what is some feedback you're hearing? Because I've heard my mom listened to it. She loved it today. She listened to it. A couple of our friends have listened to it, said they thought it was fun to hear like our high school experience. So what have you guys heard from people? Or Josh, has anyone at Dort listened to the podcast?
Yeah, I think Brady and Dana, shout out, both listened, said they liked. So that was good. Justin listened. He replied.
Yes.
I think he replied epic after I sent it to him. So yeah, shout out Justin. My mom definitely listened. She liked it. Yeah, mostly positive feedback. And the other day, I was on Apple Podcasts just browsing around, and we had a 5-star rating. It's a rating, so I can't see who it was, but whoever rated us on Apple Podcasts, thank you. Rate and review, guys. It really helps the algorithm.
If you look at Spotify, you'll see a 5-star review as well. Or 2 of them. That was definitely not me and Joey.
Ooh.
No.
You won't be able to see the ratings until we get enough.
Oh, really?
Mandy went to like
right away.
Yeah, Mandy went to like it, and she said that it takes a certain amount of ratings before it'll actually pop up. So if you're listening to this on Spotify,
Rate it.
Yeah, rate it 5 stars or 4 stars.
For the boys.
Constructive criticism.
We want your honest feedback.
Yeah, if you don't like it,
Yep.
let us know.
Yep.
We can take the heat.
Yeah. Today I was longboarding back and I passed Ava Whitcomb and Maddie Howard. Shout out to them. Ava said she loved it. Maddie said it sucks, but she was kidding. But, that's the only negative criticism I've gotten. But she hasn't even listened to it. So how does she even know? I think she's just making judgments.
Thanks, Maddie. We appreciate the constructive criticism. Let us know what we can change to make it more enjoyable for you.
Luckily, she was just joking around, but
yeah.
you know.
Hey, I have one other piece of constructive criticism to bring to the table. So we actually have only received 2 emails to the 245 podcast email. And a reminder, if you want to email us, let us know what to talk about, what you think, basically anything. The email is 2.4.5.podcast@gmail.com. And all the things are spelled out. So it's 2.4.5.podcast. But after the first episode, we received an email from a certain Braden Ritzma. And
let's go.
I'd like to read the email because we have something to talk about.
For those of you who don't know, this is Joey's brother.
Hey, what?
Little brother. Middle brother.
Really? I thought it was just a random person.
No, and I would also like to submit, because this is important information that everyone needs to know. He is a middle child, so just keep that in mind. Go in your database in your head, how many middle children you know, what their character traits are. Just keep that in mind.
Okay, so that's funny.
Shout out to you, Ava Whitcomb.
This pertains to the comment that Braden made about our podcast. So here's what he writes. He says, that Joey guy is a con artist saying he's the best looking and that middle children are the worst. Fake news. The other guys are good. Braden. And I responded saying that we would consider kicking Joey off the show. So I think we should talk about that. Like, is Joey a little too big for his own britches?
I've been considering this lately. I've been thinking we kick off Joey. We hire Mitch as a permanent member of the podcast.
Yeah.
Joey's gone.
The founding member
thoughts,
of the
Joey?
podcast. Yeet.
First of all, I will do whatever the people want. If we can get a GoFundMe going and it raises like $10K, I will leave this podcast in 2 seconds.
That's what it's going to take, $10K?
$10,000, Joey is gone. But I gotta say, one, there's 2 things that are really funny. First of all, there's a sense of humor. Calling me a con artist is absolutely hilarious. But then the fact, do you realize that if he heard our email, that means he listened to the entire thing?
I know. I was impressed.
Yeah, because we didn't say it to the end.
That's a huge shout out. Thanks for listening. We appreciate that.
So it actually was a compliment.
Believe it or not, today at 3:26, we got another email from Braden Ritzma. And he says,
no way.
Much better podcast this time. I'll pour out one for Eli, such a legend. One for Teen too. So he listened to the whole thing again, and it came out at 8. It's like an hour long. So between 8 and 2:30, he listened to the podcast. So
Unless
thanks,
he had it,
Braden.
on
but
2 times
today's he was at school today, which means he spent a study hall listening to our podcast or class. You never know.
Legend.
Either that or was at work. I don't know. He has a weird schedule, so I don't really know.
That's true. Well, glad that he listened to the entire hour-long podcast. That's good to know that we're even keeping the attention of Braden Ritzma.
You know, kids these days, they have the attention span of a goldfish. So
that's facts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and just for the record, my brother doesn't drink, okay? So when he says pour one out for Eli, that's a joke, okay? Don't call social services on us, okay?
Joey, I was worried. Thanks for clarifying.
Yeah.
He was talking about Pepsi.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know why I thought of Pepsi. That's like I don't even remember the last time I've had a Pepsi. Actually, no, I literally had a Pepsi 2 days ago.
Nice one, Mike.
But before that, I can't remember the last time I had a Pepsi. But yeah.
All right, well, we should probably get into talking about junior year.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Who wants to kick this one off?
Well, first we have to describe junior year. So every episode we've described our year, or that year of high school, in a certain way. Last time was an office character. So this time I thought it'd be fun to describe junior year as a food or a meal.
Okay, I got it. So I would say it's like, I'll give you the meal. I'll give you the meal. So you probably start off by drinking maybe vinegar. You know, it's a little hard. It doesn't taste good. But the first sip, and then you're like, oh, that's disgusting. I'm not going to drink any more of that. So you put that down. Then you pick up this nice cheeseburger, and you go to town on that thing. There's bacon, there's lettuce. I don't know, whatever you want on it. It was really good. And then all of a sudden, for dessert, the server comes out with a plate full of broccoli and is like, here is your dessert. That is junior year summed up in in a meal right there. And I bet you guys can't beat that. That
Joey,
was really good.
Literally, I was thinking like the same thing, like something gross for the beginning and then something like real good. And then I was trying to think of something disgusting for dessert. So I'm not going to try and rival that because that was a good summary.
Smart. Good soldier knows when to surrender. I appreciate that, Josh.
Okay, well, I was also going to use the burger example, but it's a little bit different. So my meal, you're looking at a nice, juicy, delicious cheeseburger. And right next to it are a gross smoothie. So you get to your meal and you're like, oh, I got a cheeseburger and a gross smoothie. I have to eat all of this. So you're not sure coming in. You're a little worried about it, but you decide, okay, maybe I'll just wait to drink the gross smoothie later. So you decide to go for the burger. So you eat the burger. It's super, super good. It's delicious. But then you realize that you bit into a tomato on the burger.
Oh.
Ew, gross.
And tomatoes suck. If you know me, you know I hate tomatoes. They're the worst. So you bite into this tomato. It's gross. And then you have to drink your gross smoothie, and it just gets worse. So that's how I would describe junior year.
Another solid description, I say. Mitch, hit us.
So, all right, I'll set the scene. You're eating out in the patio here, right? And, sun is shining, and it's like summer, okay? I'll use a cheeseburger, okay? You got a cheeseburger on your plate and a green smoothie for the drink, all right?
Oh, you're just copying me?
No. Just wait.
Okay.
So, you get there, and you pray for your food like a good little Christian. And as soon as you open your eyes, you realize there's a fly in my burger.
Oh.
And so, that's gross. Who knows what's on this leg, on this fly? It's trying to swat that thing away, and you're just trying to, bat it away for a while, and then finally it leaves you alone. And I can finally enjoy this Juicy Lucy. For those outside of Minnesota, that's a thing that's in Minnesota. Anyways, you get into that thing, and it's the most delicious thing ever. And then you realize after you're done, you have to get to the green smoothie, and now you're kind of disappointed. But then you power through. You have the drive to finish that green smoothie, and it might be gross, but you get through. And then you realize a couple hours later, your burger gave you food poisoning.
Oh
no.
And now you're having the worst night of your life. That's how I describe junior year.
Okay, but
Okay.
you go to the hospital and you get ice cream. So a little bit of good comes out
At
of
the
the
end.
difficult situation,
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's
which we'll talk
no,
about.
that's a good,
little
that's a
cheer
good
at the end.
caveat.
Yeah.
Good job,
which we'll
Mike.
talk about.
I just want to say, for the record, I wish our language arts teachers were here to hear that, because that was so descriptive.
That was beautiful.
Mitch's story, I was there.
I actually won legit.
I was with you. The emotion was there. I was feeling the sun rays
I
coming down.
tasted that Juicy Lucy.
I felt the meat juice dripping down my fingers after going ham on that Juicy Lucy. It was all there. So I think we should give a little quiet golf clap round of applause for Mitch. Let's see how this works.
Thank you.
Don't blow
I
out
think
the
that
mic.
worked well.
Yeah, that worked well.
That was good.
Yeah, I think the golf clap is important. But yeah, I think that's a great way to start off this podcast.
Yeah.
So I think let's dive in. Let's dive in.
Can I kick it off?
Yes, absolutely, Josh. Be my guest.
So this is the part of the story that corresponds to Joey's vinegar, Mitch's fly on the burger, and Mike, did you have like a kind of...
It's like you see the bad smoothie and you're kind of worried about it.
Oh, shoot. I got to do... Okay, yeah. So this is the very beginning of the year. And actually, Mike, you want to... I'm just setting the scene, but you want to talk about it a little?
Yeah. So the reason that I said oh, you're a little worried about it is because in sophomore year, I wasn't really a big part of the boys. So that was kind of a big thing for me. And then in the summer, I broke up with the girl I was with at the time. And I was coming into junior year, and she wasn't coming back to the school. She was going somewhere else. So I was coming in a little worried about what people would think if they knew what had happened this summer. And I was a little worried about what my relationship with the boys was going to look like. Like, am I finally going to be a part of them? Because now I'm actually... I made the decision that I was going to focus on my relationship with them at the beginning of the year. But I was a little worried about it. I didn't know if they would be receiving that well, or what people would think of me because of what happened that summer.
Do you guys remember the legendary soccer captain's practice?
Yes.
No.
I do not.
Wow, you guys.
We watched Avengers Endgame at Josh's house.
Yeah, it was
yeah.
soccer captain's practices before the end of the year, and like Mike had never hung out with us, and I don't know, we were just like talking at captain's practice at Blaine campus, and then we were like, oh, we should watch a movie after this, and the four of us went to my house after and watched Avengers Endgame, and that was like the first time Mike had done something with us.
Yeah, and I think that shows like them not remembering it, I think, and me remembering it a lot, I think shows like that was a big moment for me. Like it was a very like Mitch and Joey had hung out and you guys have hung out. So like it was just another hangout. But the fact that I was invited to hang out with you guys like before school even started, when that had never happened before, was really big for me and really meant a lot to me.
I think maybe, I don't want to speak for Joey and Mitch, but I had kind of an understanding of like Mike wasn't gonna have the same kind of year, so I was trying to like be a good friend, and yeah, it worked out. Now Mike is here.
Ayo.
But there's another part to the kind of unpleasant start of the year. Joey, nomination.
Thank you. I appreciate this honor. Okay, so the story starts at the start of almost every year. We do a intro chapel. Kind of the point is to be very welcoming to the freshmen. In my opinion, it was maybe a little nerve-wracking for the freshmen. They got a lot of attention in this chapel, and I get the point. The point was to be very welcoming, make them feel like they had a new home, and that they were going to be embraced by our community. But during part of it, some hats were handed out to the freshmen.
Paper hats.
That said fresh meat on it. For the record, everyone, it seemed like at the time, thought that was pretty funny. I remember I was in the sound booth. I was running sound. I did not think much of it. It was literally just something to like point out the freshmen, because I think it was like a small group time, or like there was no worship. No one was talking. I think everyone was supposed to like go up to freshmen and say hi, something like that, where it was very chill. So then chapel goes on. It's going great. And then all of a sudden at the end, we're done. Usually at the end, we have the principal or a teacher come up and give announcements. Mr. Scop was the principal at that time. And he comes up there, and then he starts off with something like, I just want to apologize. There was something that went on, and he made it very clear that leadership wasn't aware of, or something like that. And then you could just feel like all the air just leave the room.
It was like a vacuum.
It was crazy, because I remember, I think I might have ducked down behind the sound booth. Like I'm like,
you're like, oh shoot, I'm out.
I am out of here. But then he went on. I don't remember the specifics of what he said, but he was just not super happy with that situation. I think he apologized for the school or something like that. But it was a very interesting situation and not a great way to start off the school year, because nothing like this had ever happened. So I think I want to transition over to Josh to keep the story going, because I don't know exactly what went on from that point going
I'll
forward.
talk about it. So basically, if you don't get the gist, people thought the hats were like demeaning the freshmen, or like patronizing them, making them like stand out. And I think the intent was not that at all, obviously, but looking back, you can see how it could have been taken that way, and that it wasn't the best idea. So there was like that day, I think the worship team, which was, Mike, do you remember who it was? It was me, you, Adele, Ben. I think that was it.
Might have been it.
We were like leading worship at the chapel, and we were like about to head over to Blaine, because we were also doing worship at the Blaine campus. And we like got pulled back to stay and listen to Mr. Scott say that. And then we were out and we were like, shoot, what just happened? And I remember being like super nervous the whole time we were playing at Blaine. And then once we got back, there was meetings like basically all day with the chapel committee. So at our school, there was a chapel committee, which was in charge of planning the chapel. And I wasn't actually part of that. I was just part of the worship team. Mike and Adele was the main leader, and then Micah was kind of second in command, if you call it that.
Yeah.
So Adele especially took the brunt of the consequences for what happened. And like I said, I can see how it was taken the wrong way, but there's also a very other flip side that made a lot of us super upset. And part of it was that leadership was supposed to be at all the chapel planning meetings where this idea was discussed, and they didn't come to any of those meetings to hear what was going to happen. And they refused to acknowledge that at any of the meetings after. Like, it was brought up like, you said you were going to be at this meeting where we planned chapel, but you weren't. And that was just kind of brushed under the rug. And we just thought the whole situation wasn't handled with grace at all. It's a big principle of like the Christian faith, and there wasn't hardly any of that. It was basically like, oh, you messed up. Now everything you do has to be supervised.
Yeah. Yeah, because we spent the rest of that day, or chapel committee spent the rest of that day in meetings with leadership. Adele was in by herself for a while, and then they brought the rest of chapel committee, and we were very clear about what our original intention was, which was good. Not trying to like harm the freshmen at all. And we were very sorry. We felt
what
you
guys
did.
all felt awful. Like you were crying, apologetic.
We felt awful. We were in tears. A lot of us was. I was. Adele was. We were sorry. And we had regretted the decision. I think we shouldn't have done it. Like that's my opinion. I don't think it was a great idea. Weren't thinking super well at the time, but also we weren't trying to be negative. And it was such a weird way to start the school. And the whole like first month of school was so weird, dealing with the new transitions in chapel committee and how we had to be a lot more supervised and how we had to run all of the planning through leadership a lot more than we were used to. So, there's the quote that expectations are the thief of joy. And I think we were expectations were that this was going to be like every other year of chapel committee, very chill. The student leaders kind of did whatever they wanted. And nothing ever really went wrong with that. Like, but suddenly because of this one thing that happened, everything was so like, there were eyes on what we were doing. And I remember just being very upset about that. And I remember that first day of school being so like mad at the end of the day. We came out for soccer practice. There was a ball sitting on the top of the hill leading down to the soccer field. And I ran up there and booted it like the furthest I've ever kicked a ball because I was just like so angry.
Powerful, Mike. Did you say yeet?
I don't think I did, but I sure thought of that in my mind. And yeah, so it was a very interesting way to start school.
So yeah, that was kind of a damper on first day for sure. And even like the whole retreat was kind of a different feel because there was still stuff going on with chapel committee, just felt different. So we didn't feel that situation was handled the best. Yeah, Joey, go ahead.
I just want to drop in. And so I was I was definitely outside of the circle. I never had to do any meetings because I just ran sound. So that was just kind of like my own thing. But for me, there was like a few things that like made me like super mad. The biggest one by far, well, there's two. One, there was no motive there to be mean to the freshmen. There was, I think, so much of that stuff that happens like this, you have to go back and look at motive. Were they trying to be mean? Were they trying to intimidate the freshmen? Like, that would be terrible. And of course, they should be punished for that. But there was absolutely none of that going on. Another thing was, like, these were, like, my people. Between Mike, Josh, and, like, Adele, like, they are and they were, like, wonderful human beings. Like, Adele took so much brunt for that from what I've heard. And I just remember seeing her like cry like 5 or 6 times in the first like couple of days of school. And I was just livid with like leadership because Adele does not have a mean bone in her body. So for her to go take that pressure and that weight for just like a dumb little thing that literally no one cared about, that's a big question mark, is like who was actually offended? Was leadership more offended, or was like, because all the freshmen seemed fine with it.
Yeah,
there was no
like,
freshmen.
We kind of pulled the freshmen like, so was that bad? And maybe they were too afraid to like say it because we're older, but from our polling, no one was extremely hurt. No one left after that first day.
Yeah. So that was just a big thing for me, just like seeing my friends like absolutely crapped on for doing something very tiny was really frustrating for me. And I wasn't even in the meetings. I didn't even hear what was said. So I'm sure I would be a lot more mad if I actually heard what they had to say.
Yeah, and just sitting in the audience, like you said earlier, I just felt the energy was just instantly gone in the moment that Mr. Scott started talking. And it like from the audience, and I was looking at all the freshmen as they were coming up and like willingly putting the hats on. It's like they thought it was funny. They thought it was light. It wasn't anything like deeper than just fresh meat. Like it was just hats. And I don't know. It just the thing that made me the most mad is just seeing my friends go through all of that, and it could have been all been solved by the simple change of leadership just being there, showing up to meetings.
Veto that idea.
And they would be like, yeah, just like, hey, that's probably not a good idea.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Okay.
It would have been such a little thing.
I would probably have been like, oh, yeah, that probably isn't a great idea. It's just not. Because it wasn't like a big deal to do it or not.
Yeah.
There's a lot of gray area stuff that happened. Stuff we still don't know. But, that was 3 years ago now. So
basically a whole big thing blown out of proportion. And it probably even sounds funny talking about it. Like people who weren't there are like, wait, why? But even like we're still ranting about it. It was pretty weird. But one funny memory from that day, do you guys remember Mr. Schumann, or how the legend remembers Mr. Schumann? Apparently he, after chapel, took one of the hats out of the trash and like put it on and was like laughing.
Oh yeah.
I don't know who do you remember who saw him do that?
I saw him do that.
Okay.
I think I saw him do that.
Mr. Schumann was our Bible teacher. He's a legend. He's amazing. Shout out Mr. Schumann
he's
if you
here at
ever listen to
Northwestern,
this.
actually.
Yeah, we should have him on the podcast sometime.
Yeah, we definitely should.
Facts.
Yep.
Okay. Let's transition to the Juicy Lucy, the hamburger. Wait, was it a hamburger for all you guys? It was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cheeseburger, hamburger, Juicy Lucy, whatever you want to call it.
The meat of junior year.
Which was pretty much the rest of the first semester.
Oh, yeah.
And some of the second semester.
Yep.
What do we want to talk about first? Playing soccer?
Oh, yeah. So have we talked? I don't think we've talked about much about playing soccer
We haven't
yet.
talked about
yeah, we all
sports
played
much at all.
soccer. Played varsity soccer. Sounds impressive, but there was only like 12 people on the team, so we kind of had to play varsity soccer. Mm-hmm. But Mitch, that was the season you had the most goals, right?
Yep.
How many do you have in that season?
I had 33.
Dang.
Okay, so
That's
for
crazy.
everyone listening to this podcast, Mitch was an absolute unit in high school soccer. I mean, he's a baller in college too, but this dude was insane in high school. Our strategy, our game plan was get the ball to Mitch and get out of his way. Because he would score, senior year, didn't you score almost every game?
Pretty much every game. I think I
think it was
scored in every
in
game
high
except
school.
one.
And in high school, you scored almost every game.
There
right.
was a lot in freshman year, but
Okay. Yeah.
but like
senior
from
year.
sophomore year on, there were like rarely games that I didn't score in.
Yeah. And was one of those. Did we score in Breck?
We scored one, I think.
Was that you?
I don't think so.
So Breck
I
was
think
like,
it was Josiah.
It might have been
Breck
Josiah.
was Josiah. It was kind of a ricochet shot.
Yeah,
I did have a crossbar hit from a pass from Josiah.
Oh,
that was like the most like frustrating moment for me.
I remember that.
It was right there. It was going top left.
And we lost that game 8-1, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was our
And
section
we
game.
were
We
just gonna get
played
crushed.
Breck, who was a pretty prestigious private school, known for being good, but they're in our section. I think they were they the 1 or the 2 seed?
They were the best.
They were
in
one.
state.
Yeah. I met someone. I don't remember who it was. I think it's a freshman here, a new freshman this year at Northwestern who went to Breck. I met them a couple weeks ago.
Nice.
I cannot remember who it was, but I thought that was funny because like I didn't know anyone that went to Breck.
I got a card in that game because it was our last
remember
It's a
game.
delayed
that.
game.
No, it was not. So the game was just super frustrating. One, it was really cold. Two, they were good. They were real good. And like highly disciplined like soccer teams have a way of wearing you down that like you can't do in basketball or baseball. Like there's something like truly frustrating about like never touching the ball because they'll just keep it the whole time. So
It's all day.
yeah, they were doing that, and they were big. All their guys were pretty big, but it was real late in the game, and I was getting frustrated, so I was just throwing my weight around into guys, knocking them over, and I got a yellow card for like persistent infringement of the laws of the game because I had like 3 or 4 fouls in a row
I
or
think
something.
it was just purely by numbers of fouls.
Yeah.
you had.
Yeah. So it was not one particular foul. It was rather I had too many, but I really did not care.
Yeah.
I remember breaking that kid's ankles in the Breck game.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, then we made it into a GIF.
Yeah. I was like
That was
running
amazing.
down by the corner flag, and it wasn't really anything I did. I don't have that good of foot skills. I'm just quick, but I did just kind of a cut back, like run into the corner, and then I like stopped and cut back to cross, and this kid, his ankle just gave out. So it looked like I like destroyed him. I really didn't do much, but he had to be like helped off the field. His ankle was like huge and swollen. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
I also remember just being in extreme pain that game because at the
When were you not in extreme pain during soccer?
freshman and sophomore year were pretty good, but junior year, about a third of the way through the season, I started having hip pain, and I just kind of ignored it all of the soccer season, but it was like spiking near the end of the season, so Breck was super painful. Do you guys remember what was after the Breck game?
Oktoberfest or Fall Fest?
Yep, at the halls.
Fall Fest.
I just remember not
At the
being able to
halls.
walk there. Like, I was just hobbling around.
Yeah, that was super fun. What did we do? I played Just Dance for a little bit. I don't remember who else was there. Ping pong. What else were we doing?
We played,
I don't-
they have like a sport court in their basement, so we did like dodgeball and
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
in there.
I remember very little from that Fall Fest.
Yeah, I think I was really
Didn't
mad
we
about
play?
the game.
I think Mr. Hall. I think hosted Mafia or something.
Oh, yeah.
I remember playing Mafia
That
there.
was super
Yep,
fun.
I did that.
Yeah, because he's a lawyer, so he has
Yeah.
like a really great voice and is like really good at that stuff.
Yeah.
I remember someone mentioning something about that when you guys were playing Mafia.
Yeah.
I did not do that though.
And they also had like a zip line in the back or something. I remember just playing in their yard a lot.
Yeah. They have a huge backyard, so that was super fun.
Yeah, Fall Fest was always a good time. Also, side note, Fall Fest is going on at my house while I'm home
No
over
way.
fall break. So I'm going to be
No
there.
way.
Let's go.
Me and Mitch are popping
Yeah,
over.
you guys should pull up.
It's Saturday?
Wait, it's either Friday or Saturday. I'll let you guys know.
It's usually on a school day. It's usually not Saturday. It's probably Friday night.
Okay. Yeah.
Bro, this could be our 6th. No, we didn't have a Fall Fest our senior year.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Did you guys crash
Last
last
year-
year? Oh, was that?
Josh, you were there
That was
with
at
us.
Kylie's. I was there
Yeah,
too.
last year Fall Fest was at Kylie's house, so the 4 of us went and crashed because Josh happened to be visiting that weekend too.
It was probably the
So-
same weekend.
That was fun. So yeah, we should definitely crash that. I don't.
What day is this year's?
Oh no, I work at Target that night. Oh come on,
On what day?
and on Friday.
Get someone
7th.
to pick up your shift.
Okay.
Do what you want.
You gotta.
I should.
I only have a soccer practice. I could easily make it.
Yeah, we'll talk about that
Yeah,
later.
we'll see what happens. Next on the list, Joey, I think you should take this topic. Charlie's aunt.
Hold on. Let me just get my heart rate down a little bit. Okay, well, this was year 2 of Joey being dumb,
The sequel.
Joey tries theater part 2.
and I still don't know why. The play was Charlie's aunt, if you really want to trigger some
Aunt.
people. Charlie's aunt, because they're British. They're
British.
They're British, yes. Yeah, so I was supposed to be talking in an accent the whole time.
It was very inconsistent.
Joey
I'll say that.
cannot
Yeah.
I mean,
talk in
all of our accents were, but I think Joey has the award for the most inconsistent British accent.
Jeez. Okay, I appreciate that, Mike.
Do you mind talking about this in a British accent?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
You don't
He doesn't mind.
No,
Yeah.
I do very much mind. Anyway, the I did it. I had a bigger part, I would say. I mean,
Well,
Dude,
yeah,
you had
were
like a huge
one of the
part.
3 main guys.
yeah.
We had like an equal size apart, Joey.
Yeah. So we did. We had an equal size. That is crazy to me because you cared and you're good. I didn't care and was terrible at acting.
Hey, but it was a fun play. It was way more fun than Our Town. I mean, you got to admit that. And Mandy was in it too.
Joey's not
That's
buying
true.
it.
That's true. No, it just was rough for me.
Especially the one time when it was like the beginning of the show. It was like the second performance. I don't know.
Yeah.
I say my lines as normal. And then Joey says his line. And then I say my line. And then he says the same exact line again.
Oh, so
He says the same line 3 times in a row. And I'm trying to like keep going with my lines, but he keeps saying the same thing over and over again.
So the first 2 performances, because we did 3, I think the first 2 went pretty well. I mean, there was few hiccups, nothing too bad. Third, last night, whatever, I absolutely bombed. I mean, yeah, it was pretty bad.
Only the one part.
No, because it was the other part too. So it was the start of the play. You and me are sitting down and you're like writing a letter.
Yep.
I'm doing like 40 chess in my head and like overthink my line. So Micah's line is like Dear Sally or something, which is Kitty or whatever. What a weird name. But so that's the girl that you were
Yep. And
interested.
that's Annika Dykstra.
Yes.
Who's playing that part.
So there's
Shout out.
another girl who was played by Mandy who I was supposed to be interested
Very
in.
convenient.
Dude, it's amazing how far a couple $100 gets you. And then, so if he would have said the wrong name, it would have been fine. Like I wasn't supposed to interrupt him. So I was thinking in my head, oh, if he messes up this line, which Mike never would, he always nails his lines, then I shouldn't interrupt him. So I was thinking that. So then when he did the line right, in my head, I was like, oh, he said the line wrong. So then there was, no joke, probably 15 seconds of dead silence. And then I said my line, which is supposed to be interrupting him. So it was just bad. And then there was the other part where, yeah, I had like 3 short lines like in between you guys talking. And I totally forget what the other 2 were. So I said the same line like 3 times. And it was just bad. I'm not a good actor.
It's all right. We all have our gifts. I was doing sound for
fun.
that, so that was fun.
That's also when I started flirting with Kylie too, so that was a good time.
No, you know what's funny about that? This sounds really bad, but she was my daughter in that play.
No, she was your daughter in
Our Town.
our sophomore year, and I was also your son. So me and Kylie were siblings.
Never
in
mind.
Our Town.
So this was the other plays. This is technically sophomore year, but I'll still talk about. I remember like hanging out with her. Like we had to chill next to each other because we had to walk in one of the back doors together. I remember we were talking for like 5 minutes, and I remember thinking, "Oh, Kylie's actually pretty cool." So it's funny that you ended up dating her.
Yep.
That's all I got to say.
Joey, I remember at the cast party after Charlie's aunt, it was at the Schumachers, and Kylie and Micah were like flirting, and you were just giving super meaningful glances at Mandy, like the I called it look. I just remember that.
I remember I like purposely like sat next to her in a card game we were playing in their basement.
Yep.
I don't remember. That's like the only thing I remember doing, but I'm sure there was plenty of other.
All I remember about that party is the purple Doritos.
Oh yeah,
That was the
we
best
love
part
those
for
purple
me.
Doritos.
Sponsor us.
Please.
Yeah, Doritos is dropping in on the 245 podcast.
Hey, you never know.
Doritos,
Hey, we
if
eat
you
those
can
things
hear
all
us,
the
we will
time.
take all the purple Doritos we can get, and we will advertise them because they are actually the best.
We'll do ASMR with purple Doritos.
Yeah, crunching,
We'll do it for
crunching them
free.
in the mic. I think that would sell them.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to.
Did they have purple Doritos at the Winter Dance in downtown Minneapolis?
Oh, what a segue! Did they?
Flawless transition.
Whoa.
I don't think they
I
had
don't think
purple
so.
Doritos,
No, they didn't.
but they did have a giant bowl of
Oh my word! What was it?
gummy bears.
What was? Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
that
gummy
was
bears, dude.
so
I
good.
hammered that.
The amount
thing.
of trips that we made over to the snack bar.
Guys, it gave me something to do, like just stand at the food bar and eat gummy bears all night.
Yeah.
Because I think Captain Sad the sequel was in this one because we got that party time picture.
Oh
of you.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Another legendary photo. Well, let me talk about the scene a little. So we talked about Winter Dance freshman year and sophomore year. Actually, we've talked about it all 3 years. Those two were both at the middle school gym with that black curtain I talked about and the very moody fire. This year we got an upgrade in venue, and we went to what's called the North House in downtown Minneapolis. It was a venue that was owned by Latitude, which was a branding company of some parents from Avail. And it was a super, super nice venue. So,
Bougie.
yeah.
Well, it was kind of nice because, right, it was like a middle schooler's parents' business, right?
Yep.
And it's like this. It's kind of like a more modern office where like they had like no, it wasn't an office. It was a place for them to like take clients
Yeah.
and stuff and hang out. So it was really designed to like impress these people. So there was like 3 golf simulators, there were projectors and stuff, but it was a really nice venue for us to do the Winter Dance. So I remember that dance actually being pretty cool.
That was my favorite.
Yeah, that was
Oh,
my
really?
favorite.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, that was a good one. I think I remember the bus not showing up or something. I remember, so we were in student council, so we had to stay up there and help clean up. I remember us sending everybody down, all the other kids down, us starting to pick up, and we picked up for like 20, 30 minutes or something, and then we get like a call or something that's like, there's not a bus here
Yeah.
yet. And the
Oh,
kids
yeah.
We were still waiting
We
down
just
there.
sat there forever.
Yeah.
So were you?
Yeah, I was down there.
I was
Oh.
down there too.
Oh, you guys were down
Yeah,
there.
because
we
it
were
was just
in
me
student
and you in
council,
student
so-
council, Joey.
So what happened?
It came. It was. I think.
Eventually.
No, I was sent upstairs to go ask you guys about it. And you guys are like, I have no idea. And then as I was up there, I got a call from Kylie saying that it was pulling up. So it showed up after like 20 minutes, but it took a while.
Ed-
Yeah, we definitely
was
just
just
sat
a
in
little
that-
late to
that
the
front
party.
door lobby for a while.
Yeah, Ed.
It's not classic Ed.
Um,
Ed, you would think would be there early because he's
Very
He would have been
easy.
there early.
But
And that wasn't the first time we were at the venue, because at the end of sophomore year, we had that class, not the class party, we had a school-wide party
Yeah.
there, which I don't think we talked about last time, but
I don't remember. it
we
being
used that
too-
venue twice.
Yeah, it wasn't too crazy or
No,
anything.
it was
That
super fun.
school-wide party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
also, another point about the Winter Dance, this was the first thing that Micah took Kylie to. And do you remember how you asked her, Mike?
Yeah. Joey, I think, should talk
Okay,
about
listen.
why he's still salty about the
Listen
way
up.
I asked her.
Okay, so you guys heard this story of me asking Mandy sophomore year. Wasn't great. All right. So next year, junior year, I go pretty hard. I get a good poster. I draw it out nice.
You drew it out,
I did draw it out. I think so.
but didn't someone else like paint it or something?
No, I did all the painting too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Joey
yes.
is
I'm proud of you.
So,
artistic.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's the number one word people use to describe me.
Yep.
So I put a lot of effort into my poster. I thought it looked pretty good. But I remember spending like 3 or 4 nights working on it. Mike, in a study hall, pulls out a piece of lined paper.
Just notebook
and a
paper. Just
pen.
notebook paper.
Notebook paper. You're right. It still had the fringes on it. And then he takes it and he writes, Kylie, will you go to the Winter Dance with me? And then what? Did you hand it to her? Did you put it in her notebook?
No, so we were in study hall and we had choir right after. And we all had these choir folders that like the ones with like the plastic in front of it that you could like stick a sheet inside. So what I did is I wrote that. I actually wanted to print it first with like, I made it on a Google Doc and then that wasn't working. So I just wrote it by pen. And I put that piece of paper in her choir folder so that when everyone went to get their choir folders at the beginning of choir, she would see it. So I was already in the choir room at this point, and she's doesn't come into choir when choir starts. And I'm like, kind of freaking out internally because I'm like, wait, is she not going to be at choir today? Or like, what if like something's wrong? Like, what if she saw it and like doesn't want to go with me and like she's like kind of freaking out about it? Turns out she was freaking out about it, but because she wanted to go with me. So she saw it. She was with Lizzie Olstad because they share a choir folder, and she was like freaking out. Like she was so nervous to go into the choir room and like see me because like, I don't know.
You're so hot.
I'm so hot. And that's just, it's scary to be in the presence of such a attractive male specimen. So, just kidding.
It was a joke, guys.
No, she was just nervous. She eventually did come in with Lizzie. And at one point, like we also like avoided making eye contact for a little bit.
Oh, they're just like so cute.
And then we eventually made eye contact, and I was like, kind of had like a look in my eyes, like, well, like that kind of look.
The
And then she was like,
eyebrows
nodded her head, yes.
Like,
and then afterwards, I went up to her right away, and I was like, so it's a yes, or something like that. And then she was like, yes, of course. And then we laughed about it, and yeah,
that's funny.
So no, okay, Joey's making a face right now. The reason I asked her the way I did, I had talked to you guys. I don't remember if it was, I remember it was you and Joey and Josh for sure. I don't know if Mitch was right there. I said, like, I'm kind of thinking about asking Kylie to the dance. Because, like, I kind of like her, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, you should do it. And so this is like December 3rd or something. It's some random Tuesday. And I was planning on doing something like bigger, like kind of like Joey did. But for some reason, I really like had the feeling and like the desire to ask her that day. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to do it right now. I'm going to make it right now and ask her today. And I'm glad I did, because if I had waited until the next choir day, I think she would have been asked by someone else, because someone else in her class was planning on asking her, and I asked her before he did.
No way.
Mike,
and he was a little salty at me for a little bit after that. But Kylie said she would have rather gone with me anyway. So
I sure hope so. But the dude was asking just to go as friends, right?
I think he and his friend were going to ask her and Lizzie together.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
it was
Yep.
them too.
Yep. And then that whole thing fell through because of me. So
Attaboy, Mike.
you guys know who you are. Sorry, boys.
Yeah, if you're hearing this, Mike sincerely apologizes.
Can we have a round of applause for Mike?
Golf clap.
Thank you.
Guys, this is a new thing. Golf clap. Yep.
I'm a big fan of it.
Me too. All right. Oh, one other thing about that. Micah, I have an amazing picture of you holding up the sign. So I was sitting at the end of the table, and then Mike was on one side and Joey was on the other. And I had my camera at school for some reason, and I took a picture of Mike holding up the sign that says, "Kylie, will you go to the winter dance with me?" And he just has this hilarious, like, mischievous grin on his face. I love that picture. This is one of the times I wish.
Also, she still has that poster.
That's
by the
so
way,
funny.
It's still in her room. So yeah, we'll be pulling that out at our wedding.
All right, that's enough about winter dance. Let's talk about IBU year 3. So we heard a little bit about sophomore year, probably the best year, winter sports, except for Mitch, RIP, dance IBU. But junior year was also super fun. Joey, let's hear about yours first, and then we can talk about me and Mike's. Actually, Mitch, were you in Joey's?
No, I was in escape rooms and puzzles
so we have
or whatever.
we have
nice.
3 different IBUs represented. So Mitch and Joey, you guys start.
Yeah, let's just do speed through these. So for mine was ice fishing. That was a really good time. I mean, we just spent a lot of time ice fishing. Connor and Austin Bartz brought a lot of ice fishing poles for us so we could do that. I don't think we had any very successful days where we were able to like catch a lot. But I remember we did cook some of them, and they were pretty good. I think we cooked some during our presentation.
Yep, I
Fun fact,
remember
me
that.
and Mandy were fighting during. You guys know that, right? We were fighting during one of the days of IBU.
No, I didn't know that.
Oh,
Huh?
Yeah, I remember you guys in advisory like not talking to each other. I don't
Yeah.
remember what it was about.
Dude,
I don't even know if I know it. What
It was petty.
I don't know if I know what it was. It about the parking spot?
It was about the parking
Oh my
spot.
gosh!
I'm not even kidding. Me and Mandy got on a full-on disagreement.
They literally weren't talking during advisory
Yeah,
to each other,
it
and they were
was-
sitting right next to each
Yeah,
other.
it was not good. But we buried that one pretty quick. It was like a day and a half, whatever. Anyways, that was ice fishing IBU. It was pretty good. It wasn't my favorite. Winter sports was really hard to beat, but that ice fishing was pretty solid.
Mitch, let's hear about escape rooms.
I was in escape rooms, and I saw this one as an idea sophomore year, and I was like, that's a really good idea. But unfortunately, I didn't get voted that year. But I was lucky enough to like have the seniority to get like one of the first spots in this one. So I was like, I'm really wanting to do this one. So doing escape rooms, we went to, I think, 2 escape rooms just kind of around the area. It was escape rooms at this point in the decade was kind of one of those like cultural sensations. Like it was things that was just like popping up as companies were doing it, and like a lot of people were talking about it, and so it was really easy to find like really cool scenes and environments that were escape rooms. So we did that, and I think in my opinion, and not even biased, I think we had the best like final presentation because
for sure.
Definitely.
Objectively, yes.
we used the second floor rooms, like 3 or 4 of them, for the other IBUs, and we set up the same exact escape room for each one, and we just like use different key codes and locks and puzzles and other pieces of evidence to try and leave the room. And so yeah, that was a really fun IBU to experience, and also set up for a final project for the other IBUs to participate.
It was like
in.
a super well done, fun escape room just on the second floor of the lobby.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time, preparing and like thinking of where our escape room should go.
All right, so that was cool. And then me and Mike were in music production IBU, which was, I don't know, it didn't rival winter sports quite, but it was pretty good, I think. I think one of the funnest things for me was touring First Ave, which is a venue in the Twin Cities. Mike, did you like that too? I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was super cool. I'd never really heard of it before.
I hadn't
so
either.
Getting to go see it was pretty cool.
Yeah. And there was like this guy who had been there forever who showed us around. He showed us like the green room of both First Ave main entrance and then the 7th Street entrance too. And that was just super cool to kind of see behind the scenes.
Yeah. It smelled very interesting.
Yeah, if you know
I'll
what
say
if
that.
you know what we mean.
Especially the one room in the basement.
Yeah, the green room for the 7th Street entrance was like a dungeon.
Very interesting smell.
Yeah.
Does it have to do anything with green?
I think we just say that they smoked a lot of weed down there. I think we could say that. I think that's fair.
I was just trying to let the people guess.
That's just a
have
normal thing
guessing
these
game,
days.
But, that's what it was.
Spoiler. Thanks for ruining the fun inference for our listeners, Joey. Just kidding.
Sorry about
just
that.
Kidding. That was super fun. But then we also just made a lot of music, and that was super fun as well. And I had done some of that already, so I brought a lot of my gear and did a lot of teaching. I wouldn't say I learned a whole lot, but it was really fun just to do that with some other people and do something I really love and help others learn how to do it too.
I learned a lot. I was very happy that I learned all that because then I ended up doing a lot of stuff with like GarageBand and music stuff during COVID. So I was very thankful for all of that and Josh's teaching in that.
Yeah, we made some bangers. And for our presentation, we had just some talking about general music production and the process. And then I gave a little demo like on the projector. And we made a song for the demonstration to show some different techniques of editing audio. And the song was called Demo. And we're going to use that as our outro song so you can get a little taste of what we made in music production IBU. But yeah, that's basically it. It was a super fun time. Mr. Teen was the leader. He features in the song Demo, so you'll
so
get to hear his beautiful voice.
You got to listen to the end.
Yeah, listen
The
all the way
pun.
to the end.
And then right when IBU ended, a couple weeks later,
Like the iceberg coming for the Titanic.
like the green milkshake, like the tomato on my burger,
Like the broccoli dessert.
The U.S. government paid China to create COVID.
Hot take.
FBI, get him.
Hot take.
COVID hit March 13th. We had that day off school.
We did.
March 13th, 2020. I was sitting, we were working on a musical at that point, Year with Frog and Toad.
About that.
I was sitting, we still had rehearsal on our day off. I was sitting in the parking lot. We just pulled in, me and Kylie, and I look at my phone and there's an email. And it was the email that we were all dreading for like the last 2 weeks as we were starting to hear more about COVID. And it was an email from Mrs. Scudinga, and she was saying that school was going to shut down temporarily for 2 weeks, which obviously is what everyone thought, everyone in the world thought was going to happen. And that didn't stay 2 weeks.
We'll just put it that way.
We'll say that.
It was a long 2 weeks.
Sure was.
That was a long 2 weeks.
But the musical, it was my go at doing theater. I think I was probably just as bad as Joey, but we were in the middle of rehearsals for Frog and Toad. I was Father Frog and also a mole, I think, and maybe one other small thing. But I took COVID as a sign to never do theater again. So,
Josh, come on.
No, I actually think that performance would have been fun. I wasn't super dreading it. I was a little, but it would have been fun. But it didn't happen because of COVID.
Yeah, and then our director Lydia was like, "We will reschedule," because our performance was like beginning of April. So she's like, "We're gonna reschedule. It's gonna happen." And like, obviously, that would have happened if we actually had stayed at school for 2 weeks. But to none of her control, that didn't happen, and we never got to perform, which was super sad.
So yeah, COVID hit, distance learning ensued. I can speak for me, Joey, and Mitch. Actually, maybe not Mitch even as much. Well, me, Joey, and Mitch were all in AP Calc junior year. Were you guys both in AP Physics as well?
Yep, I was in physics.
I was also in
and
physics.
then we were all in PSEO biology at that time. And
that sucked during
there was like one other.
There was a PSEO language arts or something.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like responding to literature. And then I also had online art appreciation and online public speaking. I won't complain about public speaking.
Yeah, we were all in public speaking.
We were all in public
which
speaking.
we just got to make videos like speaking in front of our family, so that was hype. But
yeah,
all the other ones just were not it during distance learning. I just remember being swamped every day, just studying for AP Calc and physics, doing those tests online, just being very sad.
Yeah, that kind of sucked. And then just like the dread, like whenever I woke up, like dreading the fact that I had to like get up and walk to my desk
all the way across the room,
see my friends and my class across Zoom or Google Meetings or whatever we used.
Google Meet, yeah.
So that was pain. But our class, like, we kept in contact a lot. We actually like we grew pretty close during junior year. But I say like, and we grew the most during senior year, which we'll talk about in next episode. But I think that distance learning was kind of like leading up to that, and like kind of started to bring us together because of the group chat that we made.
This was the start of our Discord server.
Oh yeah, we made a class Discord during
Discord.
COVID, and it is still not super active, but it's still active to this day.
Yeah,
we sent out our podcast on it, and people listened.
Yep. So that was super nice to keep in touch. We would have like class like Zoom calls with each other, like just to kind of like just hang out and talk. Like that was like not class time, that we would just hang out and talk. So that was super fun.
Yeah, I would say for the most part, we can all say that it wasn't the best time and that it wasn't fun, but some good definitely did come out of it. One thing, Mr. Teen's class was always a highlight. He knew how to make it fun. So that was one fun thing, kind of connecting with Mr. Teen on a different level, because that was also his last year, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So he was really chill. Mike made a highlights video because Mr. Teen recorded a bunch of lectures on Loom, and like they were downloadable videos, and Mike downloaded them and like put together a highlights reel of just super funny moments.
Because he did not care.
No.
It was his last year, last semester. It was like April. School's going to end in a month. And he just had to like do all these lectures. So he like, I think was purposely trying to be like a meme in a lot of things, but also some stuff was like just funny.
Just off the cuff, like really funny.
So I downloaded, like, I noticed funny stuff happening in the first lecture. So from that point on, for like 2 months, I took note while I was watching the lectures for school. I took note of the time code of every single funny moment that happened. And then after school was done, or like close to the end of school, I downloaded every single one of his lectures and then found all of those clips and made a funny highlight video. So that was like the best thing that came out of COVID for me, I gotta say, was making that.
It's a really good video.
And I would like to say, I don't know if I've laughed at any video harder than that video. Cause just Mr. Teen's sense of humor, the thing is, I can't tell if he's trying to be funny or not, which makes it like 4 times more funny. But then you combine that with Mike's editing and like the memes like he slides in and stuff. I was just rolling on the floor the first time I saw it. It was so good.
Yeah.
Arguably your most legendary video ever.
It might be.
Ooh.
It might be.
Ooh, I think so.
Yeah.
That's a hot take.
Mr. Teen.
That is a hot take.
Mr. Teen is really funny. And then Mike has just super good like comedic timing with videos and cuts and pauses and stuff. So he made it even better. So it's legendary. Wait, we can probably link it in the podcast description.
Can we?
Yeah. I'll
Okay,
try.
well,
We definitely should.
Link below to that video. You gotta watch it. Like, even if you don't know who Mr. Teen is or you didn't go to our school, like,
I think
you'll find
it's
it
still funny.
It's funny for anyone.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. And then another good thing that came out of it for me, probably definitely the best part, was virtual chapels. So I was not on chapel committee, but Mike, after the first day of school incident, was kind of the head of chapel committee. Adele was still tangentially involved and probably more involved than she let on. So we were kind of scheming once virtual learning hit. And I remember the Zoom call where we talked about it, or it was a FaceTime actually. Do you remember, Mike?
Yeah, because we both kind of had this similar idea, I think, right?
Yeah.
And then I brought it up to you, and you were like, I was thinking the same thing,
Yeah.
or something like that.
We have that a lot.
Which is
where
exactly how this podcast
Yeah.
started, actually.
we think
with me
alike, and we're
Joey.
like, do you want to do this? Like, oh yeah, I was kind of thinking that too. But essentially we were seeing all the virtual like videos and songs popping up. And I was like, I think I could do that. So we did a test run with our band at the time called Tamarack, where we recorded the song Breakthrough. And I like recorded a click track with vocals, or like the professional track, and then like me playing piano along with a click. And then I sent that to Adele, Micah, and Annika, and they did like guitar and vocal parts over it, just with like their voice memos app or whatever Mike used with. Oh, you used GarageBand in your like shotgun mic.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
then they all sent the audio back. I put it in GarageBand, which I was using at the time, and miraculously everything like synced up. Even with making this podcast, it's still amazing that everything worked out, how good it did with different sample rates and stuff. Because syncing the audio for this podcast has been kind of a pain, but everything just fell into place. I mixed the song, I put all the videos together, and that was also a huge learning curve because I had never used Final Cut before. And suddenly I was working with like a lot of different video tracks and like doing split screens and quadrants and all kinds of stuff I had never done before. But I put together that song for Tamarack, and I was like, shoot, this worked super well. We should do a virtual chapel. So then we started planning. I planned out songs. I sent out an email to like the whole praise team asking who wanted to be involved and who wasn't interested. And I think everyone wanted to have some part in it, except there was like 1 or 2 people who were like, no, I'm good. But then I planned out like who would be singing for each song. I made all the tracks, sent them out, and slowly recordings and videos started to trickle in. And Mike, you played guitar for every song, right?
Yeah.
Mike played guitar and sang. I recorded drums and piano, and then got vocals from other people. And the first virtual chapel, I think I had 6 songs, and then I had a message from like Mrs. Worth, and then some other little snippets from like chapel committee members, like a welcome and maybe a scripture reading somewhere. But that first one was a huge endeavor because it was 6 songs, and it was just a ton of work. And
it paid off. Not only did it turn out super well, but it was shared to like all of Avail by Mrs. Skunninga, and I think it ended up getting like almost 2,000 views.
Yeah, it got
just
lots
like
of views
spread
really quick
throughout the Avail community. So that was super cool to see like the impact that we were having on people, and people were like loving it. I mean, people were kind of down during COVID, and they were just loving to see that like these high school students were going out of their way. Like we weren't told to do this by anyone in leadership, and we just went out of our way and made this, and people loved it a lot.
Yeah, I'd like to talk about that a little bit. Yeah, first thing I'd say, like, I don't know all the technical stuff that was going on, but they were super well made videos. Like I just remember just like appreciating like the sound quality, how good that was. But then the videos were just super well made. And then yeah, talking about like the reach and stuff I think my grandparents listened to like every one, because my mom would just send it into our family group chat, and because it was like the middle of COVID and like some churches were shut down and stuff like that, I think people really loved it and it hit home with them.
Yeah. So that was just definitely one of the highlights of COVID for me. And I grew a lot in mixing ability because I was forced to just make a ton of songs, which I usually don't have the motivation to do. So it was very personally good, but also super fun to make something that impacted people positively during a not positive time.
Yeah, and then COVID, I mean, it kept going on, but school ended, so we kind of did the usual school is done, saying goodbye to people online, and then there was a drive-through graduation for the seniors that year. But one sad thing we missed was prom. So prom was supposed to happen in May. Obviously, school was still out. But we decided, we didn't decide. The seniors decided to have their own prom. So it was the senior class hosted at one of the seniors' houses, and they decided that each of the seniors would invite 2 people. So it wasn't like a specific like group of people that was invited. It was like each senior could kind of like pick 2 guests to bring. So Mitch, I think you were invited, but you had work at Dairy Queen, right?
Yeah, I had work or something
but
that I couldn't go.
The other 3 of us were invited. I think Mandy invited Joey, and then Adele invited me and Josh. So we were all there at our fake prom that happened in August. So that was super fun. Like first time seeing, I guess we had grad parties too that year, but it was just super fun just hanging out with people, having that prom that we didn't get to have. But there was one specific part of it that I think Joey would love to talk about.
Absolutely. So each year for prom, we do these things called senior wills and testaments. And it's kind of a chance to do like a little bit of a roast, I would say. But there was one thing special about this year, and it was the fact that there was no leadership there. There was only parents supervising, and they didn't care. So it was the middle of summer. And I don't know who asked me, but somebody asked me to write the senior wills and testaments. And you can remember how the start of the year started. I definitely still had that in mind, even though it was in the summer. So there were some roasts that were pretty good. I'm not going to name names or anything, but they were pretty solid. They weren't that bad. They weren't that bad.
No.
They weren't bad. They were
definitely
just a little bit spicy. They were like purple Dorito spicy.
Yeah, they were purple Doritos spicy.
Purple Doritos spicy.
Yeah, but they were definitely ones that would not have flown over well if leadership was there. But I think, Josh, you're going to have to talk about this a little bit. I think it was recorded, right?
Yeah.
But then
I recorded it with my phone, and then somehow leadership caught wind of these roasts, and basically I was asked if I still had the video to make sure that it wouldn't be released, and I like deleted it off my phone, deleted it off Google Photos where it had synced, so there's no trace of that video left, I don't think.
Which is so sad because it was so good.
I have my script still, so
remake it.
We can access those whenever we want.
Nah, I think we're good. It's in the past.
I think
we'll leave it there.
Yeah.
But I was that was in the summer, so closer to our senior year than our junior year. But yeah, this is a long episode, so I think we're gonna cap it off at that. We'll see you for our conclusion of the high school saga with senior year next time on the pod. But I think that's it for now. So hope you all have a great day.
Catch you guys on the flippity flip.
See you in the next realm.
Peace out, gangsters.
This is our demo. This is a test. We put this together. Some of the best.
We went to First Ave. It smelled of darkness. Made some songs, recorded some voices.
This was our demo. This was our test. We hope you enjoyed it.
Now here's the rest.
Okay, guys, let's rock and roll. No pun intended.